Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I am Uzma Jafri. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Friday, the 20th of July. Indian Foreign Minister describes ASEAN as focal point of India's foreign policy. Pakistanis hope for change ahead of general elections. And Afghan President Ashraf Ghani appoints secretariat head of poll body. And now for all the details. Indian Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj on Thursday said that India is committed to bringing relations with ASEAN countries to its full potential through its Act East policy. While addressing the crucial Delhi dialogue, she said ASEAN is one of the focal points of India's foreign policy, strategic concerns and economic interests.
Indian Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj on Thursday said ASEAN is one of the focal points of India's foreign policy, strategic concerns and economic interests. While addressing the Delhi dialogue in the presence of ASEAN leaders in New Delhi, Swaraj said India's interests in the Indo-Pacific are vast and engagement is deep. She said Indo-Pacific must be free, open and inclusive region and stressed the common use of sea and air spaces in the region.
Our government is committed to bringing India-ASEAN nations to full potential through our Act East policy with ASEAN at the core. Friends, this has been reaffirmed by our Prime Minister Narendra Modi on several occasions.
Earlier in the day, Swaraj held talks with Singaporean counterpart Vivian Balakrishnan in the Indian capital. Both the leaders discussed various issues to improve the strategic partnership between their nations. Singapore is India's second largest trading partner in Southeast Asia. After two sides signed the Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement in 2005, bilateral trade touched $16.7 billion in 2016-17.
Security forces gunned down one militant in an encounter in Kupwara district of India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province on Thursday. New Delhi has long accused Islamabad of arming and infiltrating militants across the border to spread unrest in Kashmir Valley.
One militant was killed in an encounter with security forces in Kupwara district of India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province on Thursday. The encounter broke out between the security forces and militants after a cordon and search operation was launched in Handwara area of the district following inputs about the presence of militants. The operation turned into a gunfight after the militants fired upon the security forces who retaliated. The encounter came within a week after security forces gunned down one militant in another encounter in the district. India has long accused neighbouring Pakistan of arming, training and infiltrating militants as proxy to mount attacks on Indian soil. Pakistan denies allegations.
In news from Pakistan, ahead of the general elections, Pakistanis are hoping the new government will be strong and the one which can take bold policy decisions. The country, which has been ruled by the military for almost half of the 70 years since independence, is gearing up for the polls on July 25th.
Pakistan, which has been ruled by the military for almost half of the 70 years since independence, is gearing up for the general elections on July 25th. Jamal Aziz, an Islamabad-based legal expert, says democracy has massive appeal in Pakistan, which is apparent from the enthusiasm that precedes every election in the country, but civilian governments have failed to deliver. Repeat. He now hopes the new government will be strong and the one which can take bold policy decisions.
In my view, the best outcome of this election would be a strong political government and not a hung parliament. Pakistan requires a strong political government to make bold and decisive policy decisions.
Pushing his bicycle carrying bunches of dates and black plums, 75-year-old peddler Haq Nawaz also hopes for change after the elections. The elderly peddler has witnessed governments come and go since the military dictator President General Ayub Khan took power in the 1950s, and he reckons the situation has been going downhill since then.
ਤੇ ਕੋਈ ਖਾਸ ਹੁਣ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਹਦੀ ਹਕੂਮਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ ਰਹੀ ਬਈ ਹਕੂਮਤ ਜਿਹਦੀ ਆ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਸਾਡੇ ਲਈ ਤਾਂ ਕੁਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਉਹੀ ਖਜ਼ੂਰਾਂ ਵੇਚ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਕੋਈ ਤਬਦੀਲੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਈ ਅਸਾਂ ਕੀ ਕਰੀਏ
Former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif was removed from office by the Supreme Court last year and sentenced this month to 10 years in prison for corruption. National polls indicate a close race between Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz and Imran Khan's Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, with the Pakistan's People's Party in third place.
In news from Afghanistan, Afghanistan's President Ashraf Ghani on Thursday appointed a new head of the Secretariat of Independent Election Commission. Meanwhile, the head of United Nations Assistance Mission in the country asked the Afghan people to value their vote and make it count in the upcoming polls.
Afghan President Ashraf Ghani on Thursday announced the appointment of Ahmad Shah Zamanzai to serve as head of the Secretariat of the Independent Election Commission or IEC. However, soon after the announcement, election watchdogs and monitoring groups raised concerns over the appointment, saying Zamanzai has no experience in the management of elections.
یک رئیس دارالانشا اونو کلش با مشکلات مواجه بودن و دقیقاً که ما کمی یک رئیس قوی را احساس میکردیم به حیث اعضای کمیسیون.
در جریان انتخابات هستیم ما با یک نفر عملیاتی ضرورت داشتیم که کار انتخابات را بفهمه و بتونه این وضعیت آشفته انتخابات جمع بکنه. کسی که سابقه انتخاباتی نداره و کار انتخابات بلد نیست دشوار است که بتونه این کشتی شکسته انتخابات به ساحل ببره.
Meanwhile, the head of the United Nations Assistance Mission in Afghanistan, Tadamichi Yamamoto, on Thursday said the elections are important as Afghan people want their votes to be counted and respected. Yamamoto also called on Afghan political parties to support the election process as it constitutes one of the fundamental aspirations of the people of Afghanistan. Afghanistan is scheduled to witness the parliamentary elections in October this year.
More on news from Afghanistan. International Crisis Group has asked the United States Taliban and the Afghan government to end the long war in Afghanistan. In a report, it stated the ceasefire over Eid showed the warring factions, including the government and the Taliban, are tired of the conflict.
The International Crisis Group, or ICG, has said in a new report recently that the time has come for the warring sides in Afghanistan to reach an agreement and bring a swift end to the ongoing conflict in the country. The report states that the ceasefire over Eid showed the warring factions, including Afghanistan government, security forces and the Taliban, are tired of the conflict.
خارجی ها خصوصا ایالات متحده امریکا و کشورهای اروپایی در این رابطه کمک کننده بوده باشه. این پروسه صلح اونا تسریع ببخشن. مذاکراتی که به وجود میاد باید هم مردم افغانستان در مجموع در جریان بوده باشه و هم دولت افغانستان اینجا شریک بوده باشه.
In the report, the ICG has called on the US to seek official serious talks with the Taliban leadership, including the regional actors. According to the ICG report, the Eid truce has shown war-weary Afghans, including combatants, what peace might bring. It comes alongside other signs of movement. First, President Ashraf Ghani's offer of unconditional talks with the Taliban, and then the reports that Washington is willing to speak directly to the Taliban leaders.
The ashes of Sikh victims of a deadly terror attack in Afghanistan's Jalalabad earlier this month were brought to India on Thursday. At least 19 people, including 11 Sikhs, were killed in an attack which was claimed by militant group Islamic State.
The ashes of the victims belonging to the Sikh community who were killed in the deadly terror attack in Afghanistan's Jalalabad reached Indian capital New Delhi on Thursday. Official reports said that at least 11 of the 19 people that were killed in the suicide attack on July 1st were Sikhs. The group of Sikhs was on their way to meet Afghan President Ashraf Ghani when the explosion happened in the eastern Nangarhar province.
बहुत गमई माहौल है एक हमारी जनरेशन खत्म होगी वहाँ पर ये वो लोग थे जो सारे ही हमारे प्रोमिनेंट सिख थे 14 के 14 लोग सिंह सभा के प्रधान जो मेंबर पार्लियामेंट की इलेक्शन लड़ रहे थे वो आज उन सब की अस्थियां आई उनका परिवार साथ में आया.
Indian Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj had earlier this month met the family members of those killed in the attack. The families, accompanied by Sikh leaders during the meeting, had discussed about security of their community members in Afghanistan, passport-related issues and about providing compensation.
In order to avoid the harmful effects of plastic when hot meal is served on it, street food sellers in India's southern Tamil Nadu province have replaced plastic sheets with banana leaves. They now are serving the food on banana leaves, a costlier alternative to plastic, but are getting a good response from the customers.
After the provincial government announced ban of disposable plastic products from 2019, few roadside eateries in India's southern Tamil Nadu province have replaced the polythene sheets with banana leaves to serve food. The street food sellers in Coimbatore city of the province adopted the new idea of using leaves to avoid harmful side effects of plastic when hot meal is served on it. The only problem with the replaced way which the sellers face is the banana leaves get easily torn while folding them for parcels.
கவர்மெண்ட்ல போடக்கூடாதுன்னு தடை வந்தது, தடை பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காங்க. அதனால நாங்க மாத்தி இலையில போட்டுட்டு இருக்கோம். இலையில போடுறதுனால இப்போ டேஸ்டும் டிஃபரண்டா இருக்குன்னு சொல்லி எல்லாரும் சொல்றாங்க.
அப்படி சாப்பிடும்போது பாத்தீங்கன்னா நான் இங்க வேலைக்கு சேர்ந்தது இங்க சாப்பிட்டு இருக்கேன். அப்ப பாத்தீங்கன்னா ஃபர்ஸ்ட் பிளாஸ்டிக் கவர்லெஸ் தருவாங்க. அது பாத்தீங்கன்னா ஹெல்த்துக்கு நல்லதுன்னு தெரியும், பட் வேற வழியில நம்ம அத சாப்பிட்டு இருப்போம். பட் பாத்தீங்கன்னா இப்போ இந்த கொஞ்ச நாளா பாத்தீங்கன்னா இங்க இலை வச்சு தராங்க.
Most of the sellers have been sourcing small pieces of banana leaves from the wholesale dealers that are often discarded as waste after cutting large ones for restaurants. The authorities in the province now aim to spread awareness among all the vendors on ill effects of using plastic sheets before the ban comes into effect.
A wheelchair basketball training camp was organized recently in India's Jammu and Kashmir province. Both men and women from across the province participated in the program held under the guidance of coaches from across India.
A 3-day wheelchair basketball training program was held in Srinagar city of India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province recently. Scores of young men and women from across the province participated in the program. The event was organized under the collaboration of Voluntary Medicare Society and Wheelchair Basketball Federation in the province.
इसमें सीनियर प्लेयर भी और नए प्लेयर भी हैं ताकि अवेयरनेस उनको भी पता चले ये गेम कैसे खेलना है, कैसे अपने आप को घर से बाहर निकलना है, अपने एबिलिटीज़ की तरफ देखना है, उसी के नतीजे पे यहाँ पर ये ट्रेनिंग कैंप चल रहा है.
ओवरऑल एक पूरा का पूरा इनको पूरा गेम का जितना भी कंसेप्ट है हम इनको पूरा डेवलप करके यहाँ देंगे, जिससे कि बच्चे उसको आगे आगे प्रैक्टिस करें और जितना भी उसको कंसोलिडेट करेंगे उतनी ही क्रिएटिविटी बच्चों के अंदर आएगी.
The sessions during the camp were held under the guidance of basketball coaches from India's northern Uttar Pradesh and western Maharashtra provinces. Though cricket is the #1 sport in India, the sporting culture is seeing a change as other sports like football, badminton and basketball are getting popular among the people.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude, the top stories once again. Indian Foreign Minister describes ASEAN as focal point of India's foreign policy. Pakistanis hope for change ahead of general elections. And Afghan President Ashraf Ghani appoints secretariat head of poll body. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time next week. Have a great weekend. Good night.